Energy flow in ecosystems. To review from the last section, every organism has a role in the movement of energy through its ecosystem. An organism's energy role is determined by how it obtains energy and how it interacts with other organisms. Each of the organisms in an ecosystem fills the energy role of producer, consumer, or decomposer. Energy moves in one direction through an ecosystem. Energy enters most ecosystems as sunlight and is converted into food molecules by producers. This energy is transferred to each organism that eats a producer and then to other organisms that feed on these consumers. The movement of energy through an ecosystem can be shown in diagrams called food chains and food webs. A food chain is a series of events in which one organism eats another and obtains energy. The first organism in a food chain is always a producer, such as grass. Then the second organism feeds on the producer and is called a first level consumer, like this awful drawing of this antelope. Next, a second level consumer, in this case the tiger, eats the first level consumer. Therefore, it's considered a second level consumer. And then eventually it will die and then be decomposed by the fungus. Here you're looking at two different food chains, a terrestrial or land food chain and a marine food chain. Each organism in the food chains represent a feeding step, or what is called a trophic level, in the transfer of matter and energy. Start at the bottom of the food chains in these images, and energy moves in the direction of the food chain. While a food chain shows only one possible path along which energy can move through an ecosystem, a food web consists of many overlapping food chains in an ecosystem. This is a more realistic way to show the flow of energy through an ecosystem because organisms may play more than one role. For example, an omnivore, such as the mouse, is a first level consumer when it eats grass. But when the mouse eats a grasshopper, it is now considered a second level consumer. Think of a large tree. This tree is a producer, and it's going to set an ecosystem's total energy budget. And we're going to think of energy as being spent at each trophic level of the food web. Now, to help depict information of how that energy is spent, ecologists use three types of diagrams called energy pyramids, biomass pyramids, and pyramid of numbers. In each case, the foundation of the pyramid is going to be the producer level. The primary consumers form trophic levels moving up the pyramids. Let's dive into these pyramids. The pyramid of energy shows that the amount of available energy becomes less from one trophic level to the next. The total energy transfer from one trophic level to the next is only about 10% because organisms do not use all the food energy in the trophic level below them. An organism uses energy to do all the things necessary for life. They use the energy to move, to interact with the environment, and to digest their food. They also use energy to build body tissue. Some of this energy is given off as heat. The law of conservation of energy states that energy is neither lost nor gained. So even though some of the energy transferred at each trophic level enters the environment as heat, it is still energy. It is just in a different form. A pyramid of numbers shows the numbers of organisms eaten by the level above it. In most cases, the number of organisms decreases at each higher trophic level. Biomass is the total weight of living matter at each trophic level. A pyramid of biomass shows the total dry weight of living material at each trophic level.